everybody, miscellaneous here, taking you to yet another offbeat, interesting and quirky hidden gem of a tourist attraction. Today I've been to Barking Abbey in Essex, and I have to confess, this is more of a see than a visit, as there's really not that much to see. In fact, I kept referring to the Abbey as bas relief. Established in 666 AD, it was disestablished in 1539 following the dissolution of the monasteries. Come and take a walk in my shoes and I'll tell you a bit about the history of the Abbey. I will also tell you how the term barking mad maybe came into being. Finally, I will take you on a wild goose chase looking for 4 skulls in the neighbouring graveyard. As always, don't forget to click like, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notifications bell. Stick a flower in your hair for unity, bollocks included, and I will see you in the video.
Outside was a timeline regarding the Abbey's history, and, thanks to royal grants, Barking Abbey was once the 2nd richest abbey in England, runner-up only to Shaftesbury Abbey in Dorset. Barking Abbey was founded by St Erkenwald and was a double house, meaning both nuns and monks lived here. St Ethelburga, the sister of Erkenwald, served as the first abbess. I entered via the Curfew Tower, which is the only remaining notable remnant of the abbey. The original tower was built in 1370, but this one dates back to 1460, although some parts of the tower still date from the 14th century. The tower has been repaired several times and was extensively restored in 2005 to 2006, which cost £130,000. A descriptive and informative plaque inside the tower, and the tower is also known as the Fire Bell Gate. The Fire Bell Gate refers to when the bell would have been rung to signify the time had arrived for the putting out of fires and candles in preparation for bedtime. The word curfew means cover your fire. It comes from the old French word, and I apologise in advance for any pronunciation issues, couvre-feu, which comes from couvert, to cover, and feu, fire. The 2 graves to either side of the tree were of interest, but we'll get back to those later. The abbey was destroyed by Vikings in 871 AD and restored about a century later as a single-sex Benedictine nunnery. It was difficult to get a decent view of the Curfew Tower from the graveyard for all the fecund foliage here. Benedictine is a moderate order where nothing harsh or burdensome in the way of behaviours was dictated. Instead, the days revolved around what we would call a work-life balance between spiritual responsibilities and daily chores. Everything had to be done in moderation. And here's a notice board telling you a bit more about the abbey. A dowry was needed to join Barking Abbey, so it became the nunnery of choice for upper-class women. Here we are in the abbey, and as I said before, there is not much left. I refer to this as bas relief. There are plenty of grey squirrels playing around as well. The Abbess of Barking held precedence over every other abbess in England. Originally the king appointed the abbess, but under the rule of King John, who ruled from 1199 to 1216, that changed, and the nuns then elected their abbess themselves. Several saints, former queens and daughters of kings served as abbess here, including 3 Mauds. They were the wife of King Henry I, the wife of King Stephen, and the daughter of King Henry II. I think it's safe to say that these are modern stairs. At the time, Barking estate stretched from Southend to the Tower of London and was large enough for William the Conqueror, who ruled from 1066 to 1087, and his followers to stay here whilst the Tower of London was being built. Mary, the sister of murdered Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Becket, who lived from 1118 to 1170, was appointed abbess in 1173 in reparation for his murder. There is no doubt that the abbey was once very rich. Excavations have revealed fine Spanish and Italian imported pottery, rare coloured glass vessels, elaborate and jewelled bone combs worn by the women, and evidence that they wove gold thread into their church vestments. Large numbers of writing implements, known as styluses, or styli, were also excavated, proving that the inhabitants were educated. St Ethelburga is known as the first woman playwright. Incidentally, writer, philosopher and advocate of women's rights Mary Wollstonecraft, who lived from 1759 to 1797 and who was the mother of Mary Shelley of Frankenstein fame, was brought up in Barking. Prison and social reformer Elizabeth Fry, who lived from 1780 to 1845, is buried nearby. In 1377, around 720 acres of the Abbey's lands near the River Thames flooded, causing severe devastation which the Abbey never completely recovered from. In 1539, the Abbey surrendered to the Crown during the dissolution of the monasteries. Anything of value was sold off and demolition of the Abbey began in 1540. The Abbess and 30 nuns residing here were all granted pensions. As you can see, I wasn't the only person filming today. There was writing on these steps. It said Smith, 1946. The Saints' Chapel once stood on this area. It was created after the chapel was rebuilt after being destroyed by Vikings. The remnants and relics of St. Ethelberga, St. Hilda-Leith, St. Tortgith and St. Wulfhilda were all interred here. People who believed they were possessed by evil spirits would come to see the Abbess of Barking to be exorcised, and it's said that it's from this ritual that the phrase "barking mad" originates. Halloween trick-or-treating is also said to originate from here, as people were sent to the Abbey to be cured of witchcraft. That also takes into account that the date of the Abbey's founding, 666, is the devil's number. St Margaret's Church's Grade 1 listed dates back to the 13th century and sits in the grounds of Barking Abbey. I was intrigued by these little stairs that we're coming up to. There's more than one set and they're propped against the wall. Now, what were they about? Because I'm sure they weren't for you to stand up and gaze over the walls. Were they part of the foundations? Was this wall part of an outer wall or part of the Abbey itself? Maybe you could let me know in the comments. I then sped through the graveyard as I was on a mission. My research had revealed a grave that was held up by 4 skulls, and little Miss Macabre just had to come and find it. The problem was I couldn't. I was looking down, and I was looking in the wrong places. That will teach me from not doing my research properly. Yep, there were lots of squirrels running around. They were certainly having fun on this day. I went home and did more research and had to return a couple of days later. Well, at least the weather was better. I got some sunshine then. Do check out my blog. The link is at the bottom of the page and is in the description. It's St Margaret's Church. It's quite a majestic building. Explorer Captain James Cook was married here. Now, he lived from 1728 to 1779. England football champion Bobby Moore was also married here. He lived from 1941 to 1993. He raised the World Cup for England. He died quite young. I do like wandering around graveyards. I'm always intrigued by these museums of the dead. I went to see if the church was open, but no, it was well and truly closed. It looks like it's heavily protected too. Here we have bars and the like on the windows. Perhaps it's had significant vandalism in years gone by. I was still looking for those elusive skulls. but ended up leaving via the Curfew Tower. I came back a couple of days later. The wonky tree made for a good photo, and I nicknamed it the Leaning Tower of Teresa. I'm not right in the head, am I? But it's the graves on either side that I was interested in. The white grave to the right is the only painted grave in this graveyard and belongs to Thomas Neptune, a City of London poulterer who died in 1724. He decreed that his grave be painted, and it does stand out somewhat. The obligatory trash thrown in the graveyard, and I mean the can on the floor, not the superdine. I'm not sure what this monument signifies. There were no discernible markings on it. I have read that obelisks are an Egyptian symbol, and they represent eternal life in heaven, and can also represent the rays of the sun shining down forever on the deceased. Yes, there was sunshine on this day, but look, here are the elusive skulls. You see, I hadn't done my research thoroughly enough. I was looking down at graves and they were actually up in the air, holding this obelisk up. You've got cherubs carved on the side, and cherubs represent spiritual resurrection. Skulls, of course, are death's head imagery. Thank you for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll leave you now as we walk back through the curfew gate onto the street.
Come and join me soon for another miscellaneous adventure. Remember to hit like, remember to hit subscribe and click on the notifications bell. Ta-ta for now.